everybody and welcome back to the Pottery Corner. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Amos and I run the Pottery Corner, which is a studio on the south coast of England near Chichester. I run courses and also open my studio up to people who don't have a studio themselves. So I run free flow sessions for those people who don't have a studio and want to use the equipment that we have here and also use the kilns. So all of that information is on my website and the website address is in the description box below. So welcome along everybody. We're going to do another Glaze kiln opening today. As you know from last time's video, we're still working our way through this large pile of glazing from the summer term, from the students' work from the summer term. So let's get this kiln open. It's cold, it was cold yesterday, so we'll get the lid up and we'll see what we've got. Right, okay, first out of this load is a pasta bowl made by Penny, and I know Penny will be watching. Hello Penny. So this is a slab built pasta bowl that's been made over some plaster hump moulds that we have upstairs in the studio, and there is a video on the channel of A, how to make the mould, and B, how to use it. So I'll link those videos at the end for you to have a look at. So this is just a simple slab built pasta bowl, and the glaze on the outside of this is one of the new Mayco stoneware glazes for 2023, which is called, what is it called? That's a very good question. It's called Gloss Pink or Pink Gloss, one of the two ways around, I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen for you. Nice, actually a really nice mid-pink colour. So yeah, very nice, very simple. And then just Mayco's transparent in the centre. She's started a set of these, so that one will go with it. Next is, let's see whose this is. Right, so this is Paula's. So Paula has been for a throwing course. So again, there's information on throwing courses on the website. Came and did a throwing course, having never done it before. So this is one of her pieces, and on the inside we have Amaco's oatmeal. Very nice, nice glaze oatmeal. And then on the outside is blue rutile, so Amaco's blue rutile, and that is such a lovely glaze. Gives this beautiful sort of heathery tones of blue and green, really nice. So that's a nice first attempt at throwing, not a bad bowl, very good, well done Paula. This one, which has got stuck to the kiln shelf, ouch, ouch, ouch. Don't you love that when that happens? So that's probably my fault, but I had thought, wrongly obviously, that the amber ash would not drip like that. So this particular bowl, again, is Paula's. She's glazed it down to this point here, and then the glaze has basically dripped from there onto the raw clay. Yeah, I made a right mess of the bottom of that pot. Absolutely terrible. But the amber ash on the inside is really very nice. Now, those watching my last kiln opening video will have heard me talking about amber ash. This is a Mayco Elements glaze, so it shouldn't be taken to stoneware firing temperature. So I am pushing the envelope with the firing on this. But it's such a lovely glaze, but we do have pinholes on here. So actually this pot, one way and another, has been fairly well damaged by the glaze on it, which is disappointing. And I'll show you in a minute the state of the kiln shelf. So yeah, amber ash on there. But as I say, what a lovely, this is one glaze, one colour. And it's a really good doer, but I must admit that it does misbehave somewhat. And probably that could do with another coat of amber ash over the top just to refire it. And I might refire it on a bisque temperature just to bring it up to bisque temperature rather than taking it back up to glaze temperature, because it's an elements glaze and would fire to earthenware. Right, so disappointing. Next is, now whose is this? I've got several people making plates. Oh, helpful. I happen to know, just from the fact that it's got a little mark on it, that this is Sarah's. So this is Sarah's It's a slab that has been altered on the wheel. So we are using the technique of making a clay slab, popping it onto a throwing bat and then finishing it on the wheel. So at the point when it's flat, she's put vinyl placemat texture on there, which is really pretty. I love that. And then put it on the wheel and then raise the rim. And the glaze on that one is Amaco's True Celadon, a lovely glaze. And because it's a Celadon glaze, it's sat nicely into the texture to give you all that detail. On the back, the reason I knew it was hers was because when she was turning it, it was getting thinner and thinner and thinner on the rim, and she said, shall I keep going and try and get these marks out? To be honest, you're not going to see them on a plate. So I said, well, I think if I were you, rather than going through your rim, I would stop there. So that's Amaco's True Celadon. Really nice, very pretty. She'll like that. Well done, Sarah. I have been making some honey pots, and the bottoms are still on the shelf, but some of the tops managed to make it in. So this one, the top is here. I have fired these upside down with a prop underneath. So I've got a ceramic prop inside the lid and then propped it onto a kiln shelf post. So I've got the ceramic prop inside, which I will need to remove. Now that's basically a thrown bowl that I have used as a lid, so I've just trimmed it back and then applied a handle and again thrown it on. So once it's been trimmed, I've just popped a bit of clay on and made a little knob on the top. And this one actually fits onto this base. So of course now it won't fit because it's been fired, so it's now smaller. But it will go onto this particular pot, and you'll see those coming out over the next few weeks. But I've appliqued a couple of bumblebees onto the top as it's a honey pot, and the glaze on here is. This is Mayco's Riptide, which again is one of the new 2023 stoneware glazes from Mayco. On the outside is one of my favourite glazes, probably one right up the top, which is Amaco's Glacier. And actually there is a video on the channel of my top 10 glazes. That's a really interesting one to watch. So that's Amaco's Glacier. And then the bumblebees, I've just done a little bit of detail with Amaco's Marigold and Amaco's Obsidian, just to make them look like bumblebees, which they do, which is rather nice. Although the Obsidian's slightly run on the top of this one, which is a bit disappointing, but it doesn't really show, so that's fine. So that is a lid. Indeed, this is another lid. So again, same thing, Riptide on the underside. Actually, that's really nice, that Riptide. It's a matte glaze. Pretty, actually, very pretty. And then this one's slightly different. It just has an appliqué bumblebee on the top and will fit on one of these pots that's up here. So yes, we'll wait for them to be in the round to show you those. Right, I'm going to get this kiln shelf out and I'll show you what's happened to that amber ash. Right, lovely mess. Look at that. Can you see it? Horrible. So yeah, nasty. Obviously that's very sharp, so don't put fingers near it. But yeah, disappointing. It's taken the whole of the bottom of the pot off and left me with a bit of a dremeling issue. But you know, hey, these things happen. There's often, I didn't think to put it on a cookie. That's probably more my fault than anybody else's, because I had forgotten how amber ash will drip. So if you're using amber ash, be aware it runs. So I'm just going to pop that over there. That'll be dremeling for me later. Right, so what's in this layer? Now, this kiln is slightly unusually packed, so I've got half shelves and bits and pieces going on, so I'll get the props out. Right, okay, so another, oh, interesting. Right, okay, so this is Diane's, I think, although I can't tell because the cookie's stuck on the bottom. So this one is, again, amber ash. Nice. As you can see, it's so beautiful. It's such a lovely glaze. And actually, this one hasn't pinholed as badly. There are a few, but not many. And Diane has taken this over So the amber ash has come over to about 2 centimetres down on the rim where there is more pinholing. And then she put Amaco's oatmeal underneath. And actually what's happened is the amber ash and the oatmeal have dripped down. But luckily for me, it is on a cookie. So I can get that cookie off and just do a little bit of tidying up on the bottom of there. And luckily for me, nothing on the kiln shelf. So yeah, interesting. Amber ash, as I say, it's lovely, but do watch it. But look what it does when it mingles with the oatmeal. Pretty. Isn't that pretty? Lovely. So I think there's probably more work to do with that, but it's a lovely glaze. Really nice. So another dremeling item. I'll put that in the dremeling pile. I hope there's not too much of a dremeling pile at the end of this. Right, so this one is... Oh, this is Diane's again. Yeah, this is one of my favourite combinations, and if you watch my videos regularly you will have seen before. This is 2 coats of Amaco's obsidian, underneath 2 coats of Amaco's indigo float. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that combination. And interestingly, on this bowl, obviously the indigo float has had somewhere to pool and pulled rather nicely round the rim. Lovely, 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 lovely. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful, really nice. I love that glaze combination. It's probably one of my complete favourites. I use it a lot on my own work. Next out is, again, this is Diana's. So this is a combination that I've used in the past. You will have seen it probably from quite some time ago. I used to use it on my mugs. I haven't actually used it for quite a while. So this is Amaco's Snow, which is the white on the inside and taken over the rim and down to about, what's that, 2.5 centimetres. And then Amaco's Cobalt, which is the blue, taken up probably about 3 centimetres. And then Amaco's Seaweed overlapped on the snow and overlapped on the Cobalt. So there's probably only 1 centimetre of the actual seaweed plain, if that makes sense, without it being on the overlap. But yeah, that's a good do, isn't it? That's a really lovely combination. So yeah, very nice. Lovely. Like that. Very nice. That's a nice bowl. Very pretty. What I do on the throwing course with the new throwers is that I will make a cylinder for them, a taller cylinder, and then they use the bowl rib to make a bowl. So this is Diana's version of the bowl. So as I say, it just means that they can have a slightly bigger piece than they may be able to throw on their first go, and also teaches them how to open up a cylinder to make a bowl. So yeah, that's really pretty. Very nice indeed. Well done. There's a half shelf, so I'll get that out. Right, okay, next out is, oh, that's nice too. So this is Paula's bowl. So as I was saying about giving them a slightly taller cylinder, so this is Paula's bowl that she has done. That on the back is the same combination of Amaco obsidian and indigo float, but application, as you can see, where Diana has got thicker layers, she's got more of the indigo float showing through, whereas Paula hasn't added quite as much indigo float, and therefore it's a little bit darker, but nonetheless a beautiful colour for all of that. And then on the inside again she's used Amaco's oatmeal. Yeah, lovely. Isn't that nice how that comes down on the sides? Very pretty. And again, a lovely bowl. So well done, Paula. That's a good one. This is actually mine. How often do I get something in the kiln? Not very often. I'm just going to have to watch the bottom where the cookies come off. There's a couple of little shards, so I just need to watch my fingers. Now this, I was just demonstrating to somebody how to make a pinch pot, which of course is probably the most basic of the techniques that you can use to actually make a vessel. So I have pinched this pot, and then I wanted to show that you didn't always have to have a regular rim or even a wavy rim, that you could actually wet your fingers and pinch the top out to make a fluted top. So that's what I've done on here. And I was looking at some ceramics from the 60s, I think they are. I'll stick a photo up on the screen for you. I think it's called Hornsey. I'll double check it because my memory's probably got that wrong, and I'll stick it on the screen. But I was looking at this Hornsey pottery and I really liked, they had a really bright inside, a bright yellow inside with black on the outside and vertical lines. So I thought, well, I'll just play with that idea on this particular piece. So this glaze on the inside is, this is one of the new Mayco 2023 stoneware glazes called Gloss Coral. And this glaze is fast becoming a favourite glaze. I love it. It's such a beautiful colour. And funnily enough, I think I've probably said before, this is the colour of my car. So yes, I obviously like that colour, and therefore I have sort of subconsciously brought it into the studio. But yeah, it's a lovely colour. So that's Gloss Coral. And then on the outside, I've done some black underglaze lines, which I have put some tape on and then painted the lines on. So I've got nice crisp lines on there. And then the outside colour is Amaco's oatmeal. And then on the rim, so we were talking about the combination of, yes, I've put it on this side, haven't I? The combination of the amber ash with the oatmeal. I've just popped a little bit of amber ash just on the very, very rim, just on the very edge. And you can see how far that has moved. It's basically moved halfway down the pot. But I really like the way that that mingles. Although eagle eyes will see the pinholes again in that. So I might refire that and just let that go a bit further. Or I might just stick it in a bisque, we'll see. But yeah, really nice. And as I say, that gloss coral, yeah, yummy yum, like that. So that was just a little play of mine. And then the last bit on this half shelf, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so Paula's grandmother made some pots way back when Paula was younger. Or I shouldn't say it like that, should I? I didn't mean it like that, Paula. But she brought the pots in for us to have a look at. And they had copper oxide figures on them, sort of random, sort of geometric sort of figures on them. So we thought we'd try and reproduce. It's kind of worked. That's Mayco sea salt on there. So Mayco sea salt inside, and then Mayco sea salt over the top of the copper oxide. Actually, I quite like that. It's interesting, very interesting. It has smudged the design, but actually I really like it. It's interesting, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? Very nice. So I hope that Paula felt that she'd sort of paid homage to her grandmother, which was nice to do from my point of view. Right, I'm just going to get this half shelf out. Right, interesting things in here. I think I'll start with Jill's. So Jill made a bird feeder, a nice tall bird feeder to hang. So there's a hole through here that she can hang it from. And then it's got a 2-platform feeding station. So a platform actually in here and a platform in here. I really like the design. I think that's really unusual. So the glaze on there is Mayco's Winter Wood. And actually it's really pretty, isn't it? Really nice, yeah. So that's come out really well, Jill. Interesting, a very interesting make. There is a crack on it round the rim here, but actually because the winter wood is so varied, you can't actually see it. So I don't think that's going to be a major problem. It hasn't gone all the way through to the inside, so it's just a surface crack, so she'll probably get away with that. So yeah, nice. There is texture on here, but you can't really see a lot of the texture because the winter wood has gone over the top of it. But for all that, it's a nice thing, and I'm sure the birds will enjoy getting into there. Okay, next are pennies. So Penny, again, these are yours. There's a little cookie just on the base of there, which has come off. These are poppy heads to go on a cane in the garden. Aren't they pretty? Really nice. And again, pinched, 2 pinch pots joined together with a cap on the top. These have been glazed in Amaco's True Celadon again. Really nice. And there's actually a partner a partner to that one, so she has a pair. She already has a few at home, so I think she's adding to her collection, or she might be actually going to give these away. It's difficult when you make something to actually give them away. So those are lovely. This is Philippa's bowl. Nice. So Philippa's been coming to both hand building classes and free flow sessions, so she's definitely got the clay passion bug. This is a throne bowl. Lovely. This is Amaco's downpour on the inside. Beautiful mid-blue shiny celadon glaze. Very pretty. And then on the outside is Mayco sea salt, which again it's a lovely matte glaze. I'm not keen on matte glazes, as you probably know, but I do like Mayco sea salt. It's got some interest in it. Very nice. Yeah, nice bowl. Very well done, Philippa. That's really nice. Pop that over there. This is Jill's vase, and I'm going to have to remember the combination. So this is slab built. When she did the slabs, she didn't want to cut the top off, so she decided to make it into a feature. And she's used our feather stamp. We've got a wooden feather stamp upstairs in the studio. And then she has put the two pieces together and left them so that you can see where the join is, quite like that. And she's used Joe's bead. So upstairs I have a special bead that belonged to one of my students who sadly passed away much too soon. And Joe had given the studio some beads. So this is one of Joe's beads. And yeah, really nice. Actually, that's been really successful, hasn't it? Yeah, it's nice to see it finished. So glazes on here, we've got... this is Amaco's blue sapphire. Nice, actually. Really nice where it's kind of got the dotty surface. There are minor pinholes in there, if you can see them. But yeah, really nice. Quite like that. Pretty, isn't it? Pretty. And then again on the inside, it's exactly the same. So she's used the sapphire float to wipe back on the button detail and on the feather detail. In fact, I'm not even sure it was blue sapphire. I think it might have been cobalt. I think this might have been Amaco's cobalt wiped back. And then the glaze on the front is, or on the back indeed, is Glacier. Again, Amaco's Glacier. So yeah, that's really sweet, isn't it? And nice when it's going to be displayed without anything in it, to have the feather detail. And then of course you've got it in the round once it's actually got flowers in it. So yeah, really pretty. Very nice, Jill, like that. Very pretty. And the last thing in the kiln today is in two pieces, but I did know that when it went into the kiln, and I kind of knew that it was going to break in the drying process, because you'll see why when it comes out. But I have to say, yeah, this is gorgeous, and I think he's called Fudge. She is called Fudge. Right, let's have a little look, shall we? So this is part one of Fudge. There we are. So guess what that bit is? No prizes. So we'll pop that there just to make sure it's safe. And then, yes, let me introduce you to, take the cookies off the bottom. So this is Fudge. So this has been made by Sarah. Isn't she gorgeous? So she's got a tabby cat called Fudge. Yeah, her son, I believe, one of the sons, helped her to make this. Isn't it lovely? Really nice. And it has come out really lovely. I would say that that's probably better than I thought it was going to be. So she's put some underglazes on first and then just slightly sponge them so they're not too distinct. Obviously with it being cat's fur, you don't want it to have definite lines on it. So she just softened it with a sponge. And then we've gone over with, pretty sure it was manganese oxide, which she's just let it sit in the texture, and on the back you can see how lovely that is. Isn't that lovely? And then obviously put the green on for the eyes, and left the inside of the ears and the muzzle a little bit lighter, because that is Fudge's details. So yeah, so the tail, as I was saying, came off in the drying process. yeah, it was always going to. But she can just glue that back on, and then the tail sits like that. Very pretty, isn't she lovely? So yeah, well done, Sarah. That's really nice. Let me just pop her tail where it's going to go. There you are, so you can see her in all her glory. Yeah, she's lovely. Really nice, and a lovely project to make the family cat. So yeah, really nice. So another good kiln load from my students, and I've just got one shout out this week. So we'll have a look at that. Okay, so this week, it's only been a week since the last video, so I haven't had very many messages. So if you want to send me a message with a picture of your work, do so via the website, and you might get a shout out on my next kiln opening. This is from Virginia. Virginia is my octogenarian pottery correspondent, so she's in her 80s. Amazing, just amazing. So she's taken the Skyline luminaire project, which again, there's a playlist on how to make that. So I'll link that video for you at the end for you to have a look at. There's also a template, a digital template in my Etsy shop of the actual shape of the Skyline luminaire. Virginia has done a very, very beautiful village scene with a church. Isn't that lovely? Really, really talented. I love that, Virginia. I think it's a really lovely idea to actually put a scene on it. And I mean, you could put anything on there. I've used Skyline underglaze transfers, but obviously Virginia has interpreted it in a slightly different way. Really lovely, really like that. And then Virginia has made lots of hydrangea heads. Now, I can't say who this is from, but I think it might be from Virginia, but I know that it's students' work. So if this is your students' work, on the email that came through, it just had a number. There was no name on it. So if this isn't Virginia students, my apologies. If it is, lovely. Look at those. So obviously they've had a little go at doing the hydrangea heads. As I say, if this is your students' work and you recognise it, please pop it in the comments so that people know whose they are. It's always lovely to hear people actually teaching people from my tutorials, so that's really lovely. Right, so that is your lot today. As you can see, we are getting through the summer term pile of glazing. I'm about to repack a biscuit firing. There's still things going on in the studio, although it is August, so there aren't regular courses going, but the students are still using the studio, and indeed I'm doing a little bit of one-to-one teaching. So yeah, still lots going on at the Pottery Corner. So tune in next time to see what we've been up to. Until then, I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.